Good afternoon. Thank you very much for all who are joining us here in the chambers to also view our regularly scheduled Assembly Business and Professions Committee hearing. A few housekeeping items. We're requiring that masks be worn at all times by members of the public testifying, whether here in the room or at the video conferencing site. If you do not have a mask, we will be delighted to provide you with one. Today we'll be limiting Me Too public witness testimony to 20 minutes for support and 20 minutes for opposition in order to ensure that all bills are heard today. If you wish to provide testimony but are unable to do so due to time constraints, we ask that you submit your name and affiliation and position via the email to the Assembly Business and Professions Committee. We, of course, have a few different options for witness testimony today. We thank members of the public who have joined us here in the chambers for joining us. Today we have Senate Bill 800 Archuleta and Senate Bill 826 by the Business Professions and Economic Development on the consent calendar, which will be taken up once a quorum is established. If any member of the public in the room would like to testify on a bill, please raise your hand and we will ask you to approach the microphone at the appropriate time. In addition to being able to testify from inside the hearing room, we have remote testimony stations located on the north steps of the Capitol building. For dial-in witnesses, for individuals of the public wishing to call in via the moderated telephone service to testify on a bill, the call-in number for this hearing is 877-692-8957, access code 2426237. Again, that's 877-692-8957. Access code is 2426237. You can also find this number on the committee's website as well as your telephone screen. We'll then move on to the agenda for our regularly scheduled hearing. We have 7 items on the agenda, again with 2 items on consent. We currently lack a quorum, so we'll be acting as a subcommittee. And I understand that Senator Roth, Chair Roth, you'll be presenting all of the bills today. So if we might be able to begin with file item number 1, which is Senate Bill 607. Please present whenever you're ready. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Senate Bill 607 is a Business and Professions Code omnibus bill containing several changes to a number of practice acts administered by various programs within the Department of Consumer Affairs. The changes contained in this bill stem from prior sunset review oversight discussions considered non-controversial substantive code cleanup. Basically, the bill waives initial licensing or application fees for military spouses whose applications are on a fast track through an expedited formal process. It adds the appropriate statutory language for the Architecture Board to receive applicant fingerprints. It increases the amount of the current contractor's license bond by $10,000 and increases the licensing fees for Contractor State License Board. It eliminates barriers to performing necessary repairs on exterior elevated elements like balconies by clarifying that a contractor can inspect for and perform safety-enhancing repairs. And it updates provisions to reflect what the Dental Board collects for pediatric minimal sedation permits, repeals the clinical and practical examination requirements for registered dental assistants in its extended functions, and clarifies the approval timeline for foreign dental schools. There's currently no opposition, and at the appropriate time, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much, Chairman Roth. This does enjoy a 2-pass recommendation on both sides of the aisle. We'll begin with any primary witnesses in support, limiting your testimony to no more than 2 minutes. Might we have any primary witnesses in support at this time? Operator, would you please open the lines if there are any primary witnesses in support?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in support of SB 607, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Line 134, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 250, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 129, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members. Brett Gladfelty with the Apex Group. On behalf of the California Surety Federation, we are in support. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Line 341, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair, members. Mike Janeski for the Contractor State License Board. The board is in support of SB 607. Thank you so much.
And we have no further comments in queue at this time.
Thank you very much. That concludes the primary witness in support, and if we'll pause for a moment to establish a quorum.
Lowe?
Here.
Flora? Berman? Bloom? Chen? Chu? Cunningham? Daly? Fong? Gibson? Grayson? Holden? Irwin? McCarty? Medina? Mullen? Solis? Ting? Weber? A quorum has been established.
Do you have your microphone on? Is your mic on? Okay, can you speak into the mic?
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. We've established a quorum. And then we were just getting to the moment where we concluded primary witness testimony on the phones. Seeing that there are no additional primary witnesses to speak in testimony, we'll open up the forum in the hearing room for public testimony in support. Operator, are there any additional members of the public wishing to signify their support as well?
And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in support of SB 607, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. One moment, we do have one line. It'll be a moment for gathering the line numbers. One moment.
Number 1, file number 1. He's doing it for everyone.
Line 356, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Eric Campos. I live in Cochran, California, and I oppose SB803.
Thank you very much. We want to clarify again. We're currently on Senate Bill 601. This is file item number 1. At the appropriate time, we will make sure that we open up the lines for additional members of the public to signify their support and opposition for the proper bills. Again, operator, if you could kindly open up the lines for any additional member of the public wishing to signify their support on Senate Bill 607.
And line 219, your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Sylvia Samaron Rodriguez. I live in Hollister, California. I oppose SB 803.
Thank you very much. For a second time, let's ensure that we have callers signifying their support at the appropriate time. And again, this is on Senate Bill 607. Operator, would you kindly open up the lines for any additional members of the public, specifically only on Senate Bill 607?
And thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in support of SB 607, you may press 1 and then 0. We do have one line in the queue. One moment, please. Line 294, your line is open. Please go ahead. You may be on mute. Your line is open if you wish to speak in support of SB 607.
Hi, this is Chantel Reyes from Union City, California, and I oppose SB 803.
We have no further comments in queue at this time.
That's great. Thank you. For additional further clarification for members of the public, there might be some technical difficulties or difficulty understanding directions, but to clarify once more, we will be calling for the appropriate time, so if you could kindly pay attention. I understand that there are close to 133 members of the public currently dialed into the phone line on a number of different bills. So at the appropriate time, we'll call in and open up your lines for the appropriate bill to be discussed. So having concluded the public testimony in support for Senate Bill 607, we'll now move on to members of the public wishing to signify or speak in opposition on Senate Bill 607. Operator, would you please open up the lines for any members of the public wishing to signal their opposition to Senate Bill 607?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 607, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Once again, if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 607, you may press 1 and then 0. At this time, we have no comment in the queue. Oh, we do have one comment. One moment. Gathering a line number. It'll be just a brief moment. Line 370, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Fuentes, and I am a student at San Francisco Institute of Aesthetics and Cosmetology, and I oppose the SB, sorry, I forgot the SB 803.
Thank you very much. That is the wrong bill. Operator, would you...
We have no further comments.
Thank you very much. It sounds like the operator has signified that there are no additional members of the public wishing to speak in opposition at this time at Senate Bill 607. See no members of the public here in the galleries or in the committee hearing rooms wishing to signify their opposition. There's been a motion by Mr. Gibson, seconded by Assemblywoman Irwin. Senator Roth, do you wish to close?
Simply ask for an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Committee Secretary, please call the roll.
SB 607 Min, due pass to appropriations. Low?
Aye.
Low, aye. Flora? Flora, aye. Berman? Berman, aye. Bloom? Bloom, aye. Chen? Chen, aye. Chu? Cunningham? Dally? Dally, aye. Fong? Fong, aye. Gibson? Gibson, aye. Grayson? Grayson, aye. Holden? Irwin? Irwin, aye. McCarty? Medina? Mullen? Salas? Salas, aye. Ting? Weber? Weber, aye. Medina? Medina, aye. Thirteen ayes, 0 noes.
13 ayes. We'll leave the roll open for additional members. Colleagues, we're going to move on to consent. Again, this is on Senate Bill 800 as well as Senate Bill 826. Okay, motion by Mr. Gibson, second by Mr. Salas. Committee Secretary, please call the roll.
SB 800 Archuleta, SB 826 Business Professions and Economic Development, due pass to appropriations. Low?
Aye.
Low, aye. Flora? Flora, aye. Berman? Berman, aye. Bloom? Bloom, aye. Chen? Chen, aye. Chu? Cunningham? Dally? Dally, aye. Fong? Fong, aye. Gibson? Gibson, aye. Grayson? Grayson, aye. Holden? Irwin? Irwin, aye. McCarty? Medina? Medina, aye. Mullen? Salas? Salas, aye. Ting? Weber? Weber, aye. Thirteen ayes, 0 noes.
13 ayes. We'll leave the roll open for additional members. Colleagues, we're going to move on to file item number 3, which is Senate Bill 801 on healing arts. The Board of Behavioral Sciences. This does enjoy a do pass recommendation on both sides of the aisle. Chair Roth, please present whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me just say it's the sunset bill for both the Board of Behavioral Sciences and the Board of Psychology. And I would like to accept the amendments noted in the analysis and thank staff for the work. Respectfully ask for an aye vote, and I'm available for questions if there are any.
Thank you very much, Chair Roth. I understand that there are 2 primary witnesses to either signify their support and or on hand for any technical questions and or answers. Operator, would you please open up the lines for the primary witnesses in support of Senate Bill 801?
The lines of Antoinette Sorek and Steve Sodergren are open. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, committee members and Chairman Lowe. My name is Antoinette Sorek, and I'm with the Board of Psychology, and we are in support of SB 801, and I have my leadership team on the line if there are any technical questions. Thank you.
And good afternoon, Chairman and Board and members. I am Steve Sodergren. I'm the Executive Officer of the Board of Behavioral Sciences, and we are in support of Bill 801. And if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your aye vote.
Thank you very much. That concludes the primary testimony in support at this time. Operator, would you please open up the lines for any members of the public wishing to signify their support at this time only for Senate Bill 801. And if any member of the public is speaking on the wrong bill, feel free to move on to the next caller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in support of SB 801, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Once again, if you wish to speak in support of SB 801, you may press 1 and then 0. Line 107, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair and members. Colin Suarez with the California Psychological Association in support of the Board of Psychology Sunset Review. Thanks to the committee, both Senate and Assembly, for their work on this bill. Thank you.
Line 259, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, this is Jennifer Alley with the California Association of Marriage and Family Therapists. We are in support of the extension of the Board of Behavioral Sciences and appreciate the committee staff and the board's work on the sunset information and on the specific language relating to marriage and family therapist scope. Thank you.
We have no further comments in queue at this time.
Thank you very much. That concludes the primary testimony as well as public testimony in support for Senate Bill 801. Operator, would you please open up the lines for any members of the public wishing to speak in opposition only to Senate Bill 801?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 801, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Once again, if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 801, you may press 1 and then 0. We have no comments in queue.
Thank you very much. Seeing no additional members of the public wishing to speak in opposition at this time, there's been a motion and a second. Chair Roth, do you wish to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much, Chairman Roth. Committee Secretary, please call the roll.
SB 801 Archuleta do pass as amended to appropriations. Lowe?
Aye.
Lowe, aye. Flora? Flora, aye. Berman? Berman, aye. Bloom? Bloom, aye. Chen? Chen, aye. Chu? Cunningham? Daly? Fong? Fong, aye. Gibson? Gibson, aye. Grayson? Grayson, aye. Holden? Irwin? Irwin, aye. McCarty? Medina? Medina, aye. Mullen? Salas? Salas, aye. Ting? Weber? Weber, aye. Twelve ayes, 0 noes.
12 ayes. We'll leave the roll open for additional members. Colleagues, we're moving on to file item number 4. This is SB 802 for private post-secondary education. This does enjoy a do pass recommendation on both sides of the aisle. Senator Roth, please proceed whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the sunset bill for the Bureau of Private Post-Secondary Education and stems from our work to collectively determine the best path forward to ensure student success and quality education while recognizing the need for appropriate, transparent regulations of the programs offering training and education to millions of Californians. Just quickly to highlight what it does, this bill extends the operation of the Bureau for 1 year so that we can continue working on issues related to the Bureau's solvency, regulation of specialty programs, enhanced oversight on the front end of the licensure process, and a host of other topics. At the appropriate point in time, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much, Chairman Roth. I understand that we have Debbie Cochran as a primary witness in support. Operator, would you please open up the lines for our primary witness in support?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Lowe and members of the committee. This is Debbie Cochran, Bureau Chief with the Bureau for Private Post-Secondary Education. The Bureau does not have a position on SB 802 at this time, but we are very grateful for the attention of Senator Roth and the committee to these issues and happy to answer any technical questions that may arise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes our primary testimony in support. Operator, would you please open up the lines at this moment in time for any additional members of the public wishing to speak in support on SB 802?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in support of SB 802, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Once again, if you wish to speak in support of SB 802, you may press 1 and then 0. And 1 moment for our first line number. Line 83, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. This is Rachel Blucher from Nielsen Merksimer. I'm here representing 7 psychoanalytic institutes across the state. We support SB 802 if amended to address concerns we have regarding the impact of the extension of the sunset date on institutes that currently hold a verification of exemption. Thank you.
Line 373, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, Chair and members of the committee. This is Angela Terry with the Institute for College Access and Success. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of SB 802. TICAS and several of our partners have recently submitted a letter of support, and we support the bill as amended. We do have several recommendations that would further strengthen the bill and hope to see those raised next year. Minimum operating standards, a surety bond requirement to cover the cost of unexpected school closures, and more discretion on institutional approvals for the Bureau. But truly, the most important thing is to ensure the continuation of a sufficiently funded and stable Bureau with the capacity and authority it needs to protect students. The Bureau must not only be authorized, but as the committee analysis notes, the issue of Bureau funding remains outstanding and in need of resolution to ensure a strong and effective oversight program by the Bureau. Resolving the issue of funding is as critical as reauthorization, and we appreciate the thoughtful proposal recently put forth by DCA and the Bureau. We urge you to support the bill, and thank you again for the opportunity to express our support.
Line 410, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Daniel Gutierrez on behalf of the Consumer Federation of California in strong support.
I have no further comments in queue at this time.
Thank you very much. That concludes testimony in support. We'll now open up the lines or members of the public wishing to signify their opposition at this time. Operator, would you please open up the lines for members of the public wishing to speak in opposition of SB 802?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 802, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Once again, if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 802, you may press 1 and then 0. We have, one comment just came in. 1 moment while we gather the line number. Line 421, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Judith Ortega. I live in Los Angeles, and I oppose to SB 803.
We have no further comments in queue.
Thank you very much, Operator. That concludes the portion of public testimony in opposition. Any questions or comments from committee members at this time? Seeing none, does, Assemblymember Chu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me first start by thanking the author, I know this has been a difficult conversation. I do plan to support this measure today, but I want to state that given the many challenges that have faced BPPE over the years, and particularly what we know from discussions in this past year, I just want to express my initial hope and, frankly, some disappointment that we couldn't include some of the proposals that we discussed as a body during the March Sunset Review hearing earlier this year. From my perspective, I believe there was and is fairly broad consensus on a number of critical items, from minimum operating standards to reforming approval by accreditation, the potential inclusion of a surety bond requirement, and I had hoped that we were about to vote on a full extension this year with those items. That being said, again, I know how challenging Sunset Review is for the Bureau, for DCA, and all the stakeholders involved in this process. And my hope and expectation is that this year-long extension will be used to come up with a reasonable funding plan. I know the Bureau has been working on a new proposal and really solidify the critical student protections that we all want to see in this measure. So just really wanted to speak to say, while I support this, really push and prod all stakeholders to work as quickly as possible, because we need to make sure our students are being served.
Thank you very much, Assemblymember Chu. Assemblymember Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to second the comments from my colleague from San Francisco. A lot of the deficiencies have been researched and chronicled and discussed, and I know that we all, this is a very busy year, and maybe there wasn't enough bandwidth to address all the problems at BPPE, but hopefully with the new leadership there and with the legislature providing the appropriate guidance and oversight, we can really turn that Bureau around to protect the students of California, because we've been failing at that. I think BPE has been failing at that for some time now, and it's clearly an area of need that I know I'll be very interested in watching and participating in as the conversations move forward.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions or comments at this time? Chairman Roth, do you wish to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to state that I completely agree with my colleagues in the Assembly. The unfortunate thing with this particular sunset bill, as you all recognize because you are members of this committee, is that there are 4 legislative committees involved in this particular process and the administration. We have serious issues having to do with the funding of the Bureau and how that should be structured, whether it should be different than the normal boards and bureaus that we deal with in these Assembly and Senate B&P committees, along with all of the issues you've identified, and frankly some new ones involving public institutions and how those public institutions should fold into the Bureau's process. So I look forward to working with Chair Lowe as we start this next year and to wrap this thing up in a more robust fashion and address the issues that you both have addressed during this proceeding. So thank you. Thank you for your comments. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much, Chairman Roth, and to members of this committee as well. It was well known that Assemblymember Chu and Berman, as well as Higher Ed Chairman Medina, have taken a specific leadership on this issue on legislative approaches. Because of the pandemic, we're not able to tackle much of the 16 or so plus boards and bureaus at this time, but it's our deep commitment as the respective chairs in both houses to iron out many of these issues and put the due diligence that is necessary to do it right, rather than trying to jam something in without the full type of dialogue that we know that we would ensure that we have your engagement on as well. So it's our deep commitment as both chairs and the Senate and Assembly to also include your engagement as well. With that said, there's been a motion and a second. Committee Secretary, please call the roll.
SB 802 Roth, due pass to appropriations. Lowe?
Aye.
Lowe, aye. Flora? Aye. Flora, aye. Berman? Aye. Berman, aye. Bloom? Aye. Bloom, aye. Chen? Aye. Chen, aye. Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Cunningham? Aye. Cunningham, aye. Dally? Dally, aye. Fong? Fong, aye. Gibson? Aye. Gibson, aye. Grayson? Aye. Grayson, aye. Holden? Irwin? Irwin, aye. McCarty? Medina. Medina, I. Mullen. Solis. Solis, I. Ting. Weber. Weber, I. 15 ayes, 0 noes.
15 ayes. We'll leave the roll open for additional members. Colleagues, we're going to move on then to file item number 5. This is SB 803. Again, for members of the public, this is file item number 5, SB 803 on barbering and cosmetology. Just as a reminder, for those members of the public wishing to comment on SB 803, please be sure you have dialed in and follow the moderator instructions. We have a time limit of 2 minutes per key witness, as well as 20 minutes total for any additional members of the public wishing to simply signify their name and position. Again, simply signifying their name and position. With those instructions out of the way, Senator Roth, please present whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. This is, in fact, the sunset bill that many have been waiting for. It's the bill having to do with the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology and enacts changes stemming from, frankly, the years-long sunset review oversight efforts for the board that this committee and the committee in the Senate have engaged in. The goal has been and continues to be, frankly, to balance economic mobility and efforts toward professionalism among the personal appearance professionals with the necessary role that the state must play in mandating training hours and requiring approval for individuals to provide beautification services. In short, to ensure that individuals are properly trained to ensure the protection of consumers, while at the same time that we eliminate unnecessary barriers to employment in this state for our state residents. This bill updates the Barbering and Cosmetology Act to reflect changes in the beautification services industry over the past number of years by modernizing the law to better reflect necessary regulation for services that may carry a risk to the consumer and also to the artist providing those services. The bill provides our state's personal appearance artists and professionals with the flexibility to get to work quickly, doing their craft with appropriate, relevant training, and a continued focus on safety. Now, licensing requirements are necessary to promote safety and professionalism, and this bill streamlines the process that appearance professionals must undergo, in other words, training they must undergo, in order to legally provide beautification services in this state, by reducing the required number of hours for barbers and cosmetologists from 1,500 and 1,600 hours respectively to 1,000 hours, and through amendments by regulating hair-only services and requiring training not less than 600 hours. The changes related to the practical examination are intended to ensure that California's personal appearance professionals demonstrate competency in the current aspects of their practice, and that they do so during the course of the training program that they undergo. Now, I must say that there have been many, many misconceptions and myths about this bill that I've read about in the newspapers and listened to on the radio and the television, and those, quite frankly, are in fact misconceptions. The bill is not sponsored by corporations. It comes from the sunset review process and the oversight of the board by this legislature. The bill does not prevent people from being independent contractors, and as they can do today. It has nothing to do with labor, tax, or wage rules. The Board of Barbering and Cosmetology has no role in wage and labor classification enforcement. It does not play a role in ensuring that people follow the law and pay taxes. The bill will not cause more people to get infections and be harmed. In fact, the bill increases the number of hours in infection control and disinfectant and sanitation training, and the bill will not force salons to close. We all know, many of us in this room, that we treasure our relationship with our hairstylists, and this bill does not change that. The bill will still ensure that students learn safely and safety necessary to protect themselves and their clients. 1,000 hours of school is required in many states. Vermont, Texas, Rhode Island requires 600 hours and allows the professionalism and safety learned in school to still be acquired in that state, and that is exactly what will be required here in the state of California. I'm happy to accept all of the amendments listed in the analysis and appreciate your partnership, Chair Lowe, as we continue to work on these important issues, not only today, but over the next 6 to 8 weeks, including further clarifying that board licensees are not massage therapists, authorizing student externs to get paid and participate in that program for up to 25 hours per week after completing only 25% of course instruction, which of course is down from the 60% that current law requires, following the lead and the good work of your colleague, Assemblymember Patterson. Finally, responding to licensees from throughout the state about concerns that haircutting should remain licensed, and that is exactly what these amendments do in this bill. At the appropriate point in time, Chair, I would respectfully ask for your aye vote on this measure.
Thank you very much, Chairman Roth, and for also accepting the committee amendments. We'll now move on to primary witness in support, and we'll limit the testimony to 2 minutes per individual. Operator, would you please open up the lines for the primary witnesses in support, limiting to no more than 2 minutes per person?
Ms. Cochran, your line is open. Please go ahead. I'm sorry. Ms. Underwood?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Christy Underwood with the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology. I want to thank Senator Roth and Assemblymember Lowe and their staff for working on this bill. Our board has taken a position of support with amendments. Those amendments have all been addressed today in the analysis, and I'm happy to stay on and answer any technical questions if needed. Thank you so much.
Operator, do we have an additional primary witness in support? I understand that there is a Tara Crawford Gonzalez.
I'm Tara Crawford Gonzalez, okay, and I am a licensed cosmetologist in the state of California. I am an educator for sports with haircuts. I am in support of SB 803, and just my personal testimony, I was a young mom, and it did take me 2 enrollments over a span of 4 years due to the financial burden of attending school and having to care for my children. I believe if we shorten the required hours, you will see a higher graduation number and a higher number of enrollees. It was not uncommon at the time of my enrollments to see students come and go without completing. All salon skills and techniques are learned on the job. They're not in school. Sanitation is greatly taught, but just being on the training side, as I've seen newly licensed stylists, they struggle with their technical skills. And we should give our newly licensed cosmos and barbers an opportunity to become successful and get into the workforce much sooner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes our 2 primary witnesses in support. Operator, will please open up the lines now for any additional members of the public wishing to simply signify their support with name and position on Senate Bill 803.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in support of SB 803, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Once again, if you wish to speak in support of SB 803, you may press 1 and then 0. One moment, please. You have an echo on the line. Thank you for your patience. And that echo has been resolved. And just a brief moment. Line 275, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 275, your line is open. Please go ahead.
I'm not sure if I'm 275, but my name is Francine Perez, and I'm in support of Bill SB 803.
Line 277, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. Angie Minetti here on behalf of the Future of the Beauty Industry Coalition in support.
Line 280, your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Bernadette Prudhomme. I'm a licensed esthetician in El Segundo, and I support SB 803.
Line 231, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Capinetto Lomelli, and I'm licensed in Los Angeles as an esthetician, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 314, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Alexis Minix. I'm a licensed esthetician, and I support SB 803 if amended. I'm located in Fairfield.
Line 338, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Nancy Holberg, and thank you for the chairman and the committee for putting this together for us today. I'm an esthetician and also an instructor in Orange County.
I'll stay on mute.
803.
Line 346, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, yes, my name is Talia Hay. I'm an esthetician in Manteca, and I am in support of SB 803 with amended.
Line 348, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Angela Robles. I'm a licensed esthetician in Los Angeles, and I support SB 803.
Line 368, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Amy Hall, and I'm a licensed esthetician and day spa owner in Clovis, California, and I support SB 803.
Line 369, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Yolanda Moe. I am a licensed esthetician in Folsom, California, and I support SB 803 with amendments. Thank you.
Line 251, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, this is Laura Embleton, the Government Relations Director for Associated Skincare Professionals, Associated Hair Professionals, and Associated Nail Professionals, and we support Senate Bill 803. Thank you.
Line 110, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne, and I'm located in Sacramento, California, and I am in support of SB 803.
Line 112, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tracy Ball. I'm a licensed esthetician and salon owner in San Diego, California, and I'm in support of Senate Bill 803 with amendment. Thank you.
Line 374, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Angie Suetas. I'm a licensed esthetician in Sacramento, and I support SB 803. Thank you.
Line 383, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jose Nava, licensed barber in Orange County, and I support 803 if amended the right way. Not completely doing away with it, but at least minimizing the hours so we can graduate and get to work more.
Line 396, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name's Kenya Barber. I'm a licensed esthetician in Santa Monica, and I do support State Bill 803 if amended. Thank you so much.
Line 400, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Myrna Gonzalez, licensed cosmetologist. I oppose SB 803.
Line 408, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, your line is open.
Hi, my name is George. I live in Southgate. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and I oppose SB 803. Thank you.
Line 413, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Nancy Canchola, and I oppose to the SB 803.
Thank you. Just a reminder, we're currently on support at this moment in time. So again, just simply support.
And 123, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Jane Nelson. I'm a licensed esthetician in Sacramento, California, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 306, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Deidre Michelson in Poway, California, and I'm a licensed esthetician. I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 419, your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Sandra Palomeros. I am a licensed esthetician in Palm Springs, California, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 424, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 424, you may be on mute. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Erin Sandoval. I am a licensed esthetician here in Merritt Island, Vallejo, California, and I support SB 803 if amended.
Line 440, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Manuel Flores. I'm calling from Whittier, California, and I oppose to SB 803. Thank you.
Line 443, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Bridget Brown in Los Angeles, California. I'm a licensed esthetician. I support SB 803 if amended.
Line 113, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Committee. My name is Victoria Krippner. I am a licensed esthetician in Modesto, California. I support SB 803 with amendments. Thank you so much.
Line 182, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, thank you for being here, everyone. My name is Tatiana Simonian. I am a licensed esthetician in Orange County, California, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 222, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, I'm Stacy Westbrook, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 330, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Molly Houston. I'm a licensed esthetician in Chico, California, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 402, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Melina Vargas. I'm a licensed esthetician, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 447, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sarah Arredondo. I am a licensed esthetician in Los Angeles, California, and I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 486, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Brittany Purcell, and my name is Rebecca Martin, and we are licensed estheticians in Sacramento, California, and we support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 488, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Jody Seitz, and I'm a licensed esthetician in Elk Grove, California, and I fully support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 502, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 502, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 80, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lori Roberts, and I'm a day spa owner and an esthetician in Los Angeles, California, and I fully support SB 803 with amendments.
Line 84, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 84, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, sorry. I'm Kimberly France from Westlake Village, California. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and I am in support of SB 803.
Line 93, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Talicia Tomlin. I'm a licensed esthetician and aesthetics instructor in Los Angeles, and I support SB 803 with amendment.
Ms. Martinez, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 143, your line is open. Please go ahead. Ms. Martinez? All right. Moving on to line 103, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Alexis Webb, and I am a licensed esthetician in Sacramento, California, and I fully support SB 803. Thank you.
Line 170, your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Karen Ivancic. I'm a licensed esthetician in Monterey. I fully support SB 803.
With amendment.
Line 218, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Michelle Fitzpatrick. I'm a licensed esthetician in Rockland, and I support SB 803 with the amendment.
Line 308, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 308, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 329, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 385, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sonia King. I'm a licensed esthetician in Los Angeles, and I support SB 803 as amended. Thank you.
Line 438, your line is open. Oh, I'm sorry. Line 423, your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Gladys Rendon from Los Angeles. I oppose to SB 803.
Line 438, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Melanie Frosto, esthetician license. I support SB 803 if amended.
Line 504, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kelly Torrance. I'm licensed in Clovis, California, and I am in support of SB 803 with amendments. Thank you.
Line 75, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Shea, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist in California, and I'm definitely in support of SB 803 and the reduction of hours and the removal of the practical exams. Thank you.
Line 187, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, your line is open.
Hi, thank you. Hi, my name is Barbara Montes, and I am calling from Mission Viejo, California, and I support SB 803.
Line 509, your line is open. Please go ahead. Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
Yes, hi, my name is Linda Lamb, and I'm sorry. I actually am opposed to SB 803.
Thank you. Line 511, your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Michael Robles. I'm a licensed cosmetologist and a apprenticeship owner, and I oppose SB 803.
Line 458, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, your line is open.
Hello, my name is Lori Creedon, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist out of Antelope, California. I support SB 803 as well as the amendments. Thank you.
Line 514, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Amethyst Flickery. I'm a licensed esthetician from Anaheim, California. I support SB 803 if amended. Thank you.
Line 389, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 389, you may be on mute. Your line is open. Line 562, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 562?
Yes, is this 562?
Yes,
yes,
your line
my
is
name
open.
is Karen Static. Yes, my name is Karen Static from Advanced Beauty Tech Academy. I'm a licensed cosmetologist and educator, and I oppose SB.
We have no further comments in queue at this time.
Thank you very much. That concludes the witnesses to signify their support on the phones. Let's turn to the chambers here in the galleries for members of the public simply wishing to signify their support by stating their name and position. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Cochran, founder of California Aesthetic Alliance. On behalf of 90,000 licensed estheticians in the state of California, we strongly support SB 803, reading the amendments, bringing everything back into regulation.
Good afternoon. Jamie Schrabeck, licensed manicurist and owner of Precision Nails, in strong support.
Great. Do we have any additional members of the public wishing to signify their support at this time here in the chambers? Seeing no additional members of the public wishing to signify their support, that concludes the portion of the meeting for public testimony and support. We'll now move on to opposition. And we'll begin with opposition with the primary witnesses in opposition, followed by in-person opposition, followed then by opposition on the telephone line. So, operator, would we please go to the primary two witnesses in opposition? We'll also limit your public testimony to no more than 2 minutes for the primary witnesses in opposition on the lines.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair. I only show the two witnesses in person.
Okay, we'll then go to the two primary witnesses in person. Please, your name, affiliation, and no more than 2 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you. I am Lu Garcia Reynoso. I am the founder of Barber Society with over 40,000 members. I'm a barbershop owner and an industry organizer from Los Angeles. As you heard, estheticians are in support of SB 803 because it strengthens their license and scope of practice. But let's talk about what it does to the barber and cosmetologist. SB 803 presents itself as well-intentioned, suggesting the barrier of entry into the beauty profession be lowered and made more accessible to individuals wanting to enter the trade, which raises the question, what industry do these future professionals be entering? 100 years ago, tradespeople in this profession organized, creating education, regulation, licensing, and standards to protect the public and workers. This industry's majority is small businesses, owned and operated by underserved communities that include people of color, immigrants, women, veterans, and LGBTQ+. For over a century, it has allowed us to have ownership opportunities that translate to equity in the market. The corporations and billionaires supporting this bill will slowly take that away from micro small businesses and small businesses as they take over a larger part of our market share. By supporting regulations that lower hours and training, this not only diminishes our professionalism, but compromises our livelihoods. The companies behind this bill, in support of this bill, only have one goal in mind, and that's to mass-produce technicians to fill their shops that struggle to retain professionals currently. The number one reason why professionals don't want to work for corporations is that they are limited in their earning potential. They work for a system that takes 50 to 60 of their earnings in addition to state and federal taxation. Corporations supporting to lower the barriers of entry will allow them to have a bigger pool of employees to hire. But what they fail to think about is what it will do to the future of our profession. We saw what Starbucks did to the local coffee shop, what Amazon did to the local bookstore, and now we're asking for the same thing to not be done to local salons and barbershops. To some, this craft has been passed down from generation to generation. For others who come from tough backgrounds, this was their only shot to make something of themselves. No matter how we got here, we all share the same love, gratitude, and admiration for our trade, and we want the future of our industry to continue to benefit from the work laid out by our predecessors and ensure that the majority of the market share be taken up by the people who truly make up this beautiful industry and not be handed over to a handful of billionaires. So I ask you today, public servants and officials, to look beyond the interests of corporations who already have a lot and are trying to get more and look after the livelihoods of your constituents. I oppose SB 803. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the final primary witness in opposition. Chris Tellis, if you could limit your testimony to no more than 2 minutes. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I am Chris Tellis, California College of Barbering and Cosmetology. I'm here representing several thousand barbershops, salons, and over 240 vocational schools that overwhelmingly oppose this bill. It is important to note that this industry is primarily composed of independent workers who can move freely between jobs, rent a chair, or open a salon. Beauty services have historically been a sanctuary for women, people of color, and members of the LGBTQ+ community, allowing them to prosper in a world that has provided few opportunities and many impediments. This is because in beauty services there is no established hierarchy to hold you back. However, as an independent, disaggregated workforce, there is no opportunity for beauty service professionals to unionize. The full training and license, therefore, is a form of unionization, providing protection for these professionals so that they can make good wages and move up the economic ladder. Last week, I uploaded for your packet the highly regarded 2018 study from the National Bureau of Economic Research by Peter Blair of Harvard and Bobby Chun from the University of Chicago, which confirmed that occupational licensing reduces the racial pay gap by up to 43%. The omission of this study by staff underlies the appalling lack of data or constituent consultation behind this legislation. 803 calls for reducing the hours required to get a license. But if you lower the hours, what you actually get is a flood, driving down wages for an already embattled population. And once again, you have a case where an entitled elite attempts to impose reforms on a minority population that was not consulted and does not want it. It is yet another time-worn case of we know it's best for you. It is patronizing and insulting to the hardworking established professionals in this industry, especially because the legislator is based on emotion and stereotypes, not research or reason. Worst of all, you have a bunch of people with advanced degrees telling women and minorities that the barrier to employment is too much education. Unbelievable. What is going on here? Where is the science? This will dumb down the training and drive down wages. Only 4 states out of 51 have 1,000-hour programs, and those 4 do not have the multicultural population of California. Now, there is no question that the industry, the regulations, and the curriculum need reform. We see that. We want to be involved in it, but this is not the bill. This bill will backfire on its own intentions. So we ask you to table SB 803 and allow for further study. We respectfully ask that you stop this bill and allow us to work together to craft meaningful reform legislation. Again, we want you to be our heroes. We need you to work with us, not against us.
Thank you very much for your primary witness in opposition. We'll now move on to the portion of the meeting for members of the public to signify their opposition here in the chambers and in the gallery. If you could kindly just remember now at the portion where you just simply state your name, affiliation, and position. Please present whenever you're ready.
Marco Abundez, Central Valley Barber College, we oppose 803.
Rhonda Arnold, Modesto, California, oppose SB 803.
Roxana Sanchez, Chatsworth, California, oppose SB 803.
Dinah Owsley, Los Angeles, I oppose SB 803.
Liliana Lugo, Sacramento, I oppose SB 803.
Laura Smith, dual license, I oppose SB 803.
Heather Kane, Sacramento, dual license, I oppose SB 803.
Randy Epps, Sacramento, oppose SB 803.
Felicia Ortega, Sacramento, California.
Ashley Hernandez, Sacramento, California, I oppose.
Agustin Hernandez, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
Julie Landeros, Los Angeles, California, I oppose SB 803.
María Teresa Villarreal, Los Angeles.
Douglas Christensen, Truckee, California, I oppose SB 803.
Sakari Kimball, Modesto, California, I oppose SB 803.
Jasenia Berber, I oppose SB 803.
Paul Mantia, Paul Mitchell Schools, Los Angeles, opposed.
Beatriz Velasquez, I oppose SB 803. Gemma Mariscal, licensed cosmetologist instructor, I oppose SB 803.
Victoria Finley, Modesto, California, I oppose SB 803.
Yvette Alvarez, I'm from Modesto, California, I oppose SB 803.
Stephanie, Stockton, California, I oppose SB 803.
Angelica Martinez, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
Jadine Randall, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
David Nguyen, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
Haley Hughes, Modesto, California, licensed cosmetologist, I oppose 803.
Susan Garrick, Modesto, California, I oppose SB 803.
Tatiana Melgoza, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
Danielle Church, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
Katie Schwant, Modesto, I oppose.
Jenna Keys, Modesto, I oppose.
Cedric Wright, Modesto, I oppose.
Haley Santos, Modesto, I oppose.
Holly Beckett, Volcano, California, I oppose SB 803.
Moore Yang, Sacramento, I oppose.
Hua Zhang, Sacramento, I oppose.
Mario Rupert, Sacramento, I oppose.
Mike Craven, Stockton, California, I oppose SB 803.
Amanda Patzer, Stockton, California, I oppose SB 803.
Michelle Giese, licensed cosmetologist, I oppose SB 803.
Angelique Santillanes, dual licensed barber and cosmetologist, Stockton, California, I oppose SB 803.
Adrian Enriquez, Stockton, California, and I oppose SB 803.
Demetra Sanchez Maldonado, dual licensed barber Cosmo from Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
Nicole Taylor from Stockton, California, licensed cosmetologist, I oppose SB 803.
Bao Lee, Sacramento, I oppose SB 803.
Devontae Farr, California, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803.
Haley Green, Fairfield, I oppose SB 803.
Willie Quinones, Monrovia, California, I strongly oppose SB 803.
Yo soy Guillermo Quiñones.
Kelly Payne, I oppose SB 803.
María Quiñones, y digo no, SB 803. No.
Amy Cassinger, Sacramento, I oppose.
Brooke Brandner, Fairfield, I oppose.
Daniela Puglisi, Fairfield, California, I oppose SB 803.
Lorena Gonzalez from Dixon, California, and I oppose SB 803. Caitlin Allery, Yuba City, California, I oppose.
Janet Servina Alejandra, Chico, California, I oppose SB 803. Claire Snyder, Sacramento, California, I oppose SB 803. Tyler Allen from Yuba City, California, I oppose SB 803.
Alexis Garcia from Yuba City, California, I oppose SB 803. Julia Edwards, Roseville, California, I oppose. Monique Sanders, Sacramento, California, I oppose. Marina Miranda from Stockton, California, I oppose SB 803.
Shamanique Murdoch, Sacramento, California, I oppose.
Angelica Murdoch, Sacramento, I oppose to SB 803.
Larissa Ruiz, I oppose.
Minnie Russell, Sacramento, I oppose.
Lauren Anderson, Sacramento, California, and I oppose.
Alexis Salon, Sacramento, California, I oppose.
Christine Urena, Sacramento, California, and I oppose. Alexis McKay, Sacramento, I oppose. Gianna Abrego Serrano, and I oppose.
My name is Kenya Silva, and I oppose SB 803.
Hannah Wiggum, Sacramento, California, I oppose.
Natalie Wallace, Sacramento, California, I oppose.
Brianna Latham, Sacramento, California, I oppose. Megan Prudler, Carmichael, California, I oppose.
Shannon Sebaskowitz, dual barber, licensed barber, and SD, and I oppose SB 803.
Jaden Ricker from Sacramento, California, and I oppose. Jaslene Bojo, San Francisco, California, I oppose.
Maria Vargas, I oppose. Vanessa Argumedo, Modesto, I oppose.
Alejandro Delgado, Modesto, California. I oppose SB 803.
Lorena Vasquez, Stockton, California, and I oppose SB 803.
Rocio Reveles from Merced, California. I oppose SB 803.
Maya Bozeman, Modesto, California. I oppose.
Crystal Brown, Sacramento, California. I oppose.
Fred Jones on behalf of the Professional Beauty Federation of California. Appreciate the amendments, but we've got a lot of work to do. Thank you. We oppose.
Now it looks like we've concluded all the public testimony and opposition here in the chambers and the gallery. We'd like to thank our sergeants for helping to facilitate that everyone here in the gallery had an opportunity to signify their support or opposition. Thanks again for allowing us and members of the public to fully participate in a democracy. Thank you again to our sergeants. We'll now move on to remote testimony, and we'll open up the lines for members of the public in a remote room. If sergeants can also help assist and open up our lines then for those individuals who are also in the building for remote testimony, and then that will be concluded by on the phone line. So we'll go then to remote testimony.
Dee Dee Crossett, San Francisco, business owner, esthetician. Oppose.
Cheryl Snodgrass, San Francisco, business owner. Opposed.
Jeremy Federico, Sacramento, business owner, strong opposition.
Tatiana Melgoza, Sacramento, California. I oppose.
Holly Beckett, Volcano, California. Oppose.
Ismael Romero, Sacramento. Oppose.
To Lee, Sacramento. I oppose.
Dimitri Tell, Sacramento. I oppose.
Isaiah Yerrick, Sacramento. I oppose.
Greg Rupert, Sacramento. I strongly oppose.
Damien Garcia from Sacramento, and I oppose.
Bryce Burr, Sacramento. Oppose.
My name is Bailey Land. I'm from Lodi, California, and I oppose SB 803.
My name is Emily Stuckey. I'm from Sacramento, California, and I strongly oppose.
My name's Lindsay Bowles. I'm from Placerville, California, and I oppose.
Jocelyn Jones Anderson, and I strongly oppose.
My name is Eric Ocampo from Williams, California, and I oppose.
My name is Christopher Garcia. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Oscar Vina. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Frida. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose as well.
My name is Jorge. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Rosa. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Malia, and I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Felipe Olvera. I'm from Chico, and I oppose.
My name's Cole. I'm from Sac, and I oppose.
My name's Delaney Graham. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name's Darian Clavel, and I'm from Wheatland, California, and I oppose.
My name's Sal. I'm from Yuba City, and I oppose.
My name is Juan Urrego. I'm from Yuba City, and I oppose.
My name's Deja Cummins. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name's Liz. I'm from River Pines, and I oppose.
My name's Cameron Saka, and I'm from Vacaville, and I oppose.
Carson White from Plymouth, California, and I oppose.
Ben Chung, Sacramento, and I disapprove.
My name's Leo Carrillo, and I disapprove of SB 803.
Hi, my name's Katie Ramos. I'm from Woodland, California, and I oppose. My name's Gabrielle Garcia. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name's Jamie Burks, and I'm from Woodland, California, and I oppose.
My name's Hannah Williams. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name's Alyssa Lopez. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name's Camille Carcereni. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Jordan Lynch. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Anthony Carpio, and I oppose.
Where's the camera at? My name is Davion. I oppose of everything, especially SB803.
My name is Serena. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name is Veronique. I'm from Sacramento. I oppose SB 803.
My name is Marisela. I'm from Woodland, and I oppose.
My name is Bernadette. I'm from Sacramento, and I oppose.
My name's Violet Prado. I'm from Woodland, and I oppose.
Hi, my name is Rick. I'm from Vallejo, California, and I oppose SB 803.
My name is Jason. I'm from Vallejo, and I oppose.
Looks like we have concluded the public testimony in opposition in the remote hearing room. Thank you again to the Assembly Sergeants for helping to facilitate a smooth opportunity for public testimony in opposition while also recognizing our distancing protocols. We'll now move on to the operator for public testimony in opposition. Operator, just as a reminder for individuals calling in on the phone lines, simply signify your opposition, name and affiliation.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, I'm sorry, we are back here. One moment. For those of you who are already in the queue, please do nothing. If you press the numbers again, it will remove you from the queue. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 803, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Line 577, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Samantha Manuel from Los Angeles, California, and I oppose SB 803.
And 444, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Rosalba Rosy Breceda, and I've been a registered cosmetologist in our beautiful state of California for over 40 years, and I strongly oppose SB 803. Thank you.
Line 432, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Joe Roccaforte from San Diego, California. I'm the director of the Associated Barber College and have been in the barber school business for over 40 years. I strongly oppose this bill. You cannot cut 40 to 60% of the
Next
education
caller, please.
And prop.
Line 403, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yeah, 2 minutes. Is it good?
Line 366, your line is open. Please go ahead.
There's an echo. I'm sorry. My name is Leslie Jones. I'm a consumer. I oppose SB 803.
Thank you. One moment, please.
Let's take I-80 West, Vacaville, and I-680 South. One echo.
One moment, please. And we still are receiving an echo on the line. Line 250, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Deborah Hollingshead, Bakersfield, California, and as the bill is, I oppose it.
Line 477, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Judith Ortega from Los Angeles, California, and I oppose SB 803.
Line 417, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Bernadette, and I oppose SB 803.
Line 620, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Anchola. I live in California, and I oppose SB 803.
Line 622. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hold SB803.
449. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Lopez. From Hawthorne, California. I'm a cosmetology student, and I strongly oppose SB803.
$214. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lola Guru. I'm from Anaheim, California, and I strongly oppose SB803.
Line 316. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Karen Victoria from Rancho Mirage. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and I oppose SB803.
Line 229. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
This is Sunil Sharma from Fremont, and I oppose SB803.
Line 337. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, I'm Jerica Bonilla. I am a cosmetologist in Paramount, California, and I oppose SB803.
Line 629. Your line is open.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Karen Static, Supervisor, Advanced Beauty Tech Academy in Corona, California, and I oppose SB803.
Line 489. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Joanna Acosta. I'm a current cosmetologist student, and I SB803.
Line 617. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Ray Steinbach, business owner, San Marcos, California, and I strongly oppose SB803. Thank you.
Line 643. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Marlene Ortega, business owner, and I strongly oppose SB803.
Line 351. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Tanya Nguyen, licensed cosmetologist, and a program of TNN Escondido. I oppose SB803.
Line 631. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Dana Pattison from Trabuco Canyon, California. I strongly oppose SB803. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, barber, and business owner. I strongly oppose.
Thank you.
Line 458.
Operator, if you could just for one moment, please. We've now reached the 20-minute mark for the limit of public testimony in opposition, but because of technical difficulties, we'll allow for additional 5 minutes. So additional 5 minutes, and then we will conclude our public testimony in opposition. Please do continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Line 458. Your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 651. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Mikhail Peter, business owner, cosmetologist, strongly oppose SB803.
Line 356. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Eric Campos. I'm from Hawthorne, California. I am a cosmetology student, and I strongly oppose SB803.
Line 448. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. This is Arlene Lyons, owner of Paul Mitchell School, Sacramento. I oppose.
Line 635. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Jacqueline Newsy. I live in Long Beach. I'm a current cosmetology student, and I oppose SB803.
Line 657. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Matthew Cogan from Los Angeles, and I strongly oppose SB803.
Line 290. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Eric Jokum. I'm from Orange County, California, and I strongly oppose SB803.
Line 71. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name's Katie Sutherland, and I'm a student at Golden West College in Huntington Beach, and I strongly oppose SB 803.
Line 379. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Seth Kaplan from Los Angeles, California. On behalf of 600,000 professionals who will vote, we strongly oppose SB 803.
Line 473. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi.
Your line is open.
Hello, John Dominguez. I strongly oppose SB 803.
Line 427. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Medina in San Francisco, and I'm an aesthetic student at SFIC. I oppose SB 803.
Line 568. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Ashley Whiteman-Jones. I am a licensed cosmetologist in Sacramento, California, and I oppose SB 803.
Line 608. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Carl Gibbs. I'm from Riverbank, California, and I strongly oppose SB 803.
Line 624. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name's Amanda George. I own a salon in Beverly Hills, and I strongly oppose.
Line 460. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Aphrodite Papanikolaou for Paul Mitchell Schools, and I oppose SB 803.
Line 606. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Angelica Alvarez. I'm an esthetician student in San Francisco. I oppose SB 803.
Line 530. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Dr. Buffer.
My name is Trevor Holavicek. I'm an educator and a licensed barber here with many cosmetology students, and we all oppose SB 803.
Line 457. Your line is open. Please go ahead. 457. Maybe unmute. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Desiree Garu. I'm located in Anaheim, California, and I oppose SB.
Thank you very much. Operator, just one additional caller, please, as we've now reached the 25-minute mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And line 361, your line is open.
Hi, my name is Alexis Gomez, and I'm a licensed cosmetologist and licensed barber here in Santa Fe Springs, California. I value education, and I oppose SB 803.
Thank you very much. That now concludes the portion of the hearing in which we're hearing public testimony in opposition. We'll now move to the committee for any questions or comments from members of this committee to the author. And just as a reminder, there's a due pass recommendation on both sides of the aisle. Assemblymember Gibson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members. I want to thank the author for bringing this bill forward. Certainly, it has sparked a great conversation here today, and appreciate those who have testified, whether it's in support or against. I just have a few questions from the author, because I received, as I've been sitting here, receiving some texts from individuals from my district, and it's mixed. And so just need some clarification as it relates to this proposal. One, how did we derive from reducing from 1,600 hours to 1,000 hours? And then does that diminish in any kind of way with respect to the training? Because for 16 hours for a student to go through to get their license, and now we're going to reduce it to 1,000 hours, what is the mechanisms to making sure that, you know, that the 600 hours is absolutely captured and training is not diminished to equip individuals, especially around safety and otherwise, moving forward?
Well, in the first place, both the current law and this bill, the standard is not less than. So under the current law, it's not less than 1,600 hours. Under this bill, it's not less than 1,000 hours. The question is, what are the students doing for 1,600 hours in cosmetology, a cosmetology program, or 1,500 hours in a barbering program? This legislature and the committees both in the Assembly and the Senate have been asking that question for years. And we have asked the industry to participate with us and the schools that are involved in assessing the programs and the curriculum requirements and the reason and the rationale for 1,600 hours for a cosmetologist without result. And in fact, the response that we have received each and every time was 1,600 hours in the case of cosmetologists, 1,500 hours for barbers is appropriate. As we in California have watched at least parts of the rest of the country, Rhode Island, Vermont, New York, Texas, steadily reducing the not less than hourly requirement. As I mentioned, Vermont, Texas, 1,000 hours, Rhode Island, 600 hours, New York, about 1,000 or so, certainly less than 1,600 hours, and we stay the same. So this time we ask again. No response from industry, as you've heard, except complaints and a request that it remain the status quo, and the board worked with us this time to, in fact, determine that 1,000 hours appeared appropriate, with an increase, by the way, in the amount of training specified for disinfectant and sanitation. Because when you look at the cosmetology training curriculum and you look at the number of hours that are required for sanitation and disinfectant, and I forget whether it was 20 or 60 or maybe 100, I'd have to look. I don't think it was that much for that particular segment of health and safety. You would be surprised, and you would say, if you're spending 1,600 hours in a curriculum, and this is an industry where we're interested in consumer protection, why wouldn't you spend more time working on disinfection and sanitation? And so it appeared to at least some of us that 1,000 hours was appropriate. It was certainly appropriate in Vermont and Texas, New York. We asked the board agreed with us, subject to the amendments that we've taken in this bill. So we don't think, don't think that this is going to impact health and safety, consumer protection, or frankly the training of the students in the schools. And I think you all are well aware that students pay a fair amount of money for these schools. It can be upwards of $12,000 to $15,000 for a training program. So we need to make sure that the hours required, we set it right, because it can be a barrier to employment. If the costs are high, the hours are excessive, and that's what some may remember that we were trying to do here. And if we're not getting it right, we'll continue to work on this issue to get it right. We owe it to the students who are interested in careers in barbering and cosmetology and all of the other fields regulated by this particular board.
Senator, thank you very much. I appreciate your response. I have just one additional question, because when I go get my hair cut, that was a joke. The real question is, would the reduction in hours affect students that move out of the state of California or move into the state of California?
No, it should not affect them. That has to do with the testing requirements and this, that, and the other, and we'll make sure that there is ability and mobility with respect to barbering and cosmetology, but it's not my understanding that there will be any adverse impact.
Thank you very much.
If it turns out that there is, we'll fix that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Assembly Member. Any additional questions or comments at this time? Okay. See no additional questions or comments at this time. I just want to again remind individuals who had been on the phones that they can also submit their comments to the committee by email or through the online portal. For again, members of the public who did not get to testify due to time constraints, feel free to submit your comments to the committee by email or through the portal. Any additional questions or comments from committee members at this time? Seeing none, Chairman Roth, do you wish to close?
Thank you, Chair. Let me just make a couple comments to address those who spoke both here and outside the chamber. I want to assure them that those that were involved with the opposition, that big corporations have not been involved in drafting the provisions contained in the Sunset Bill. Rather, it was a very dedicated team of staffers both here in the Assembly and in the Senate who worked on it this year and have been working on these issues, frankly, for years. And as to those who say that question whether, regulation can serve as a barrier to employment, I think it's pretty clear, and there are numerous studies, that government regulation of business and occupations can serve as a barrier to employment both in the state of California and across the nation. And we regulate to protect consumers and to ensure that students receive the training they need and deserve without unnecessary barriers such as excessive training requirements or, in some cases, excessive tuition. No more and no less. And as I mentioned to the Assembly member in my response, I'm delighted that we have industry representatives participating in this discussion today. Frankly, these committees have been requesting the industry and those involved with it, including the schools, to work with us to review the specific training hours required in light of advancing technology, without result, as I indicated, other than the response that status quo is okay. So with the board's help, we move forward with that effort this year to provide the analysis, and of course you see the result. Now, I want to state on the record that I will commit to work with those stakeholders, including those who've spoken today, as we move forward with this bill to try to do the work that we have been requesting, frankly, for years. And with that, Mr. Chair, I would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much, Chairman Roth. First off, I would like to commend and thank you for your work on this issue. Members of the public and members of this committee well know that you've served as chair of the Senate Business and Professions Committee just starting this year, in which you've acknowledged that there are many different issues to be ironed out prior to you taking on the privilege of serving as chair. And yet, as we have tried to tackle 16-plus boards or bureaus, you've done so and had been in continuous conversation to ensure that all stakeholders' viewpoints are well heard and acknowledged. So with that said, do I have a motion and a second? Moved by Assemblymember Chen, second by Assemblymember Gibson. Committee Secretary, please call the roll.
SB803 Roth, do pass as amended to appropriations. Low.
Aye.
Low, aye. Flora. Berman. Berman, aye. Bloom. Bloom, aye. Chen. Chen, aye. Chu. Cunningham. Cunningham, aye. Daly. Daly, aye. Fong. Fong not voting. Gibson. Gibson, aye. Grayson. Grayson, aye. Holden. Holden, aye. Irwin. Irwin, aye. McCarty. Medina. Medina, aye. Mullen. Mullen, aye. Salas. Salas, aye. Ting. Weber. Weber, aye. Fourteen ayes, 0 noes.
14 ayes. We'll leave the roll open for additional members. I'd like to thank members who have joined us here in the chambers for coming in person to signify your position on Senate Bill 803. Senator Roth will now move on to our final item. This is Senate Bill 806, file item number 6. Please feel free to present whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the Sunset Bill for the Medical Board of California and Healing Arts. The changes in this bill stem from a sunset review oversight process, including 2 recent public hearings as the Senate Committee on Business Professions and the Assembly Committee on Business Professions held this year to discuss this important regulatory body and the various very important issues associated with it. Without this bill today, this Medical Board of California will expire. The bill extends the board's operations for 2 years. The Medical Board's enforcement process, starting with how complaints from the public are handled, stretching all the way to the end as the board and its members makes decisions about licensee discipline, has been the subject of significant concern and questions from members and the public alike, including a recent Los Angeles Times newspaper article today. Significantly, SB 806 proposes an enforcement monitor at the Medical Board to ensure that we have independent information and reports about what is actually happening at the Medical Board with regard to a variety of issues, including the disciplinary process, information that I hope will provide guidance on the necessary next steps to support the Medical Board's important work. The measure also reinstates the Medical Board's authority, I say authority, to recover costs accrued during enforcement cases. This change has been requested by the Medical Board itself for multiple sunset reviews over a period of years and is likely to provide additional revenue to offset costly but necessary disciplinary action. Members, I know you know this, but the Medical Board of California is insolvent and has not had an adjustment to increase resources to support board operations for almost 15 years. The bill increases fees for all medical board licensees and registrants and includes language to ensure proper legislative review of this program's fund condition in the coming year and the need for additional fees, all in anticipation of a further and more detailed financial analysis prepared by the board itself, analyzing expenses, revenue, management operations, and improvements that could be achieved. Senate Bill 806 takes the first step in resolving issues that physician groups and healthcare facilities have identified about requirements for licensure during physician participation in postgraduate training programs, a very, very important issue. The law, established through prior sunset review oversight of the medical board at the board's request and with the legislature's approval, now requires a physician to complete 36 months or receive credit for 36 months of postgraduate training. 3 years is the shortest residency program, and many physicians complete many more than 36 months. As amended, SB 806 now includes placeholder language that will continue to take shape over the next 2 months or so to authorize a physician to become licensed as a full-scope physician and surgeon after the physician and surgeon completes 12 months of a residency program, exactly as it was before the law change was adopted in 2017. The physician and surgeon would then hold that license and only be eligible to retain and renew it upon receiving 36 months credit for postgraduate training. Family or medical leave or other necessary leave will still be accommodated for resident physicians and postgraduate training received for the leave period, just as the bill currently provides. Our goal is to send a bill to the governor that provides the medical board with the tools and direction to ensure swift outcome for cases, most especially cases involving allegations of significant deviation from the standard of care that resulted in patient harm. This legislative process is just that, a process, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you, with Chair Lowe, with the medical board, with patients, and with physicians to make meaningful changes where necessary and to get this right. At the appropriate time, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much, Chair Roth. We'll now move on to primary witnesses in support. We'll limit the testimony to no more than 2 minutes per individual for public testimony in support. Operator, would you please open up the lines for primary witnesses in support?
Thank you. We do have Aaron Bone on the line. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members. My name is Bill Prasivka. I'm the Executive Director of the Medical Board of California. As indicated in the analysis, the board has adopted a support its amended position on SB 806. First, the board is grateful that SB 806 restores the board's authority to obtain recovery of its investigation and prosecution costs related to disciplinary proceedings against its physician licensees. This language puts us on a par with other DCA boards and is expected to help support the timely resolution of the board's disciplinary proceedings and mitigate certain enforcement expenses. Further, the board supports creating an enforcement monitor and hopes that this will add greater transparency to the process and that their reports will help to spur enhancements to the board's authority and resources that further its consumer protection mission. The board will continue to work with the legislature and other stakeholders to establish fee amounts that will adequately support the board's operations, and we look forward to continuing with that work in 2022. Finally, the board remains committed to addressing the concerns raised by the physician community with regard to postgraduate training and will continue to work with the legislature, its staffs, and stakeholders to iron out all difficulties. Our staff are here and myself available to answer any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Next primary witness.
I have no other listing.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to public testimony in support with members here in the chambers. Seeing no members of the public here in the chambers wishing to signify their support, and seeing no members in the remote hearing rooms wishing to signify their support, We'll now move on to public testimony in opposition. Seeing no members of the public here in the chambers wishing to signify their opposition here in the chambers, we'll go on to primary witnesses in opposition. Operator, would you please open up the lines for limited testimony to no more than 2 minutes for primary witnesses in opposition?
We have Carmen Balber and Dennis Cuevas Romero. Please go ahead.
All right, well, this is Carmen. I'll just jump in if the committee doesn't care. Thank you, Chair and members. My name is Carmen Balber. I'm the Executive Director of Consumer Watchdog, and we strongly oppose SB 806 unless it is amended to address the concerns of the many, many Californians who have come to you begging for reform. The headline of today's LA Times investigation says it all: botched surgeries and deaths, how the California Medical Board keeps negligent doctors in business. And a public member of the board came before you all in March and testified to the same thing, saying, quote, "This board's value is we protect the doctors." We work with patients across the state who've been maimed or had their loved ones killed by medical negligence, and not one of those families has felt heard or valued or protected by the medical board that is charged with their safety. I won't repeat the litany of the board's failures because they're in our letter and many other places, but they make one thing very clear: this board has a doctor bias. And the first step to fixing it is to change the balance of power on the medical board by giving public members the majority vote. We urge you to amend SB 806 to make that change. Secondly, the latest amendment that would give the board unprecedented new authority to issue confidential letters in place of real enforcement actions is incredibly disturbing. This confidential letter of advice should more properly be called a get out of jail free and have your record expunged letter. It would allow a complaint to be closed with a secret letter for any violation, from failing to sign a chart to causing the death of a patient. And not so it really leaves us in a situation where not only are you not improving oversight by the board but with this bill, but this amendment actually makes it worse. The only other path for justice that these families have is the legal system. But California's cap on compensation for medical negligence victims hasn't increased since 1975 and blocks injured patients from getting justice in court. So when the medical board also refuses to discipline bad doctors, we have an entire healthcare and legal system stacked against accountability for physicians. So we urge you to reject the self-interested protectionism of the medical lobby and amend SB 806 to give public members the majority vote, and reject this new proposal to add greater secrecy to the board's already dangerously opaque oversight of physicians. Thank you.
Thank you. Next primary witness in opposition, limited to 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Chair members. Dennis Cuevas Romero with the California Medical Association. I want to thank the author, the chair, and the committee staff for their willingness to engage on this bill. Due to the recent amendments, CMA remains opposed unless amended. As it relates to cost recovery, CMA is concerned with the restoration for various reasons. First, CMA is concerned with the medical board, which already has one of the most expensive investigative processes and some of the longest investigative timelines at DCA, using cost recovery as leverage against licensees, potentially undermining licensees' due process rights. Additionally, the medical board does not control its investigative costs, the AG being able to charge as much as it finds necessary to complete an investigation. This uncontrolled cost often leads to overspending, and those costs can balloon for a licensee. Lastly, the medical board has stated that restoring cost recovery will help with its fund condition. The board's multi-million-dollar structural imbalance requires a wholesale overview of the board's processes to rectify that matter. As it relates to the postgraduate training license, CMA, in coalition with the California Primary Care Association, the California Academy of Family Physicians, SEIU California, the American College of Emergency Physicians California chapter, and the Psychiatric Physician Alliance of California, remain extremely concerned about the implications of the PTL. We appreciate the framework Senator Roth has outlined, as the PTL has resulted in reduced access to Medi-Cal providing physicians. lower number of psychiatric emergency physicians and creates problems with young physicians finishing their residencies and going into practice because of timelines associated with the PTL, among other barriers to access to care. Our coalition is optimistic about the solution Chairman Roth has provided and looks forward to collaborating and reaching a compromise on language that resolves the barriers created by the PTL. Finally, CMA is supportive in concept on the implementation of an enforcement monitor at the board. However, we believe that the newly amended language requires more clarity regarding the scope of the monitor's work and explicitly states that the monitor must be unbiased with experience in oversight efforts. We look forward to working with the author over summer recess to address these important issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes primary witnesses in opposition. Seeing no members here in the chambers or members of the public wishing to speak in opposition, and seeing no members of the public in the remote testimony room wishing to speak in opposition, operator, would you please open up the lines for members of the public wishing to simply signify their name and their position in opposition at this time?
And thank you, Mr. Chair. We may have a mixed queue at this point. We didn't open it for the...
Yes, we will. Thank you, operator. We'll go to opposition at this time, and then we'll go back as we passed the portion of the hearing for testimony in support. So at this time, if you could kindly open up the lines for members of the public wishing to signify their opposition at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if you wish to speak in opposition of SB 806, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Line 580, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 349, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Line
453, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and members. Tim Madden, representing the California chapter of the American College of Emergency Physicians. We have an opposed unless amended position related to the PTL issue. Thank you.
Line 386, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Eric Andrus from the Patient Safety League in opposition unless amended. First of all, the medical board should expire. Don't think that's a bad thing. There was an enforcement monitor before, and yet the board is still derelict.
Thank you very much.
To protect.
Next person, please.
Line 340, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Vanessa Kahina on behalf of the California Academy of Family Physicians with an opposed unless amended position only related to the postgraduate training license. Thank you.
Line 707, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Oh, 777, sorry, that's me. My name is Leilani Nguyen, and I am a consumer of midwifery services. I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include an independent licensed midwife board. Thank you.
Line 708, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, committee and members. Matt Leger on behalf of SEIU California in an opposed unless amended position for issues related to PTL. Thank you very much.
Line 686, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Susan Lauren, a survivor of a disabling surgical assault. I'm in strong opposition, and I urge you to withhold your aye votes today. We must do better to deal with and prevent nefarious and epidemic medical harm in California. I've been housebound for 10 years due to this. It needs to stop. Thank you.
Line 390, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, this is Randall Hager for the Psychiatric Physicians Alliance of California. Our 1,500 members have an opposed unless amended position on the PTL. Thank you.
Line 186, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm Teresa Yu, Board President of California Families for Access to Midwives, a consumer and also a consumer of licensed midwifery care. CFAM is a consumer advocacy organization that has over 5,000 supporters, and we focus on increasing midwifery access and birth options for California families. We oppose SB 806 unless amended to include an independent licensed midwife board.
Line 517, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sarah Diaz. I'm from Sacramento, California, and I receive well woman care from a licensed midwife. I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a licensed midwifery board.
Line 94, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Annette Ramirez from Manhattan Beach, California. I'm a patient safety advocate with Consumer Watchdog. My life was greatly harmed by medical negligence in 2012, and I am now living as a quad amputee in a wheelchair. To this end, I was given no support or communication from the California Medical Board.
Thank you very much.
I strongly oppose Bill SB 806.
Thank you.
Line 105, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm Jen Campbell, founder and CEO of VBAC Facts, based out of Claremont and two-time midwifery client. I represent thousands of birthing families throughout California when I express our collective opposition for SB 806 unless amended to support a licensed midwife board, which will resolve the current regulatory stalemate that revolves around VBAC. Thank you.
Line 700, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members. My name is Denise Johnson. I live in Tracy, California. I am an advocate for the Watchdog organization, and I oppose Bill SB 806 unless amended to include a public board member majority. Thank you.
Line 77, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Monique Himes. I'm from Kern County. I oppose the bill SB 806 unless amended to include a public board member majority. Thank you.
Line 79, your line is open. Please go ahead.
I am Michelle Montserrat Ramos. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a public member majority. Thank you.
Line 544, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Justine Backus from Kern County. I'm a licensed midwife, and I am in opposition of SB 806 unless it's amended to include language for midwives to have their own board. Thank you.
Line 137, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Tammy Smick, Temecula, California. I'm a patient safety advocate, Consumer Watchdog board member, and mother of Alex Smick, who was killed by a negligent doctor. I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a public member majority. Thank you.
Line 347, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Desiree Leal. I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a licensed midwife board.
Line 388, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Marian Hollingsworth, and I'm a patient safety advocate in Southern California. I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a public member majority. Thank you.
Line 262, your line is open. Please go ahead.
My name is Mark Wilson. I live in Newport Beach, California. I'm strongly opposed to Bill 806 unless it includes a public board member majority. It's the only way to protect patients like my mom, who was killed this past year due to medical negligence. Thank you.
Line 435, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Assemblyman and Senator Roth. I am from Bakersfield, California. My name is Tracy Dominguez. I strongly oppose SB 806 unless a majority board member is added back to the bill. And I'm very concerned about the confidential letter when it comes to life and death. Thank you very much.
Line 91, your line is open. Please go ahead. Line 91, you may be on mute. Go ahead.
Apologies. My name is Alka Airy, and I'm from San Francisco. I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a public board member majority. Thank you.
Line 683, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Daniel Schultz, midwife, and I oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a licensed midwife board. Thank you.
Line 701, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, your line is open.
Okay. Hi, my name is Julia Monteagudo, and I am a licensed midwife after experiencing medical negligence in the hospital with my first son.
and I strongly oppose SB 806 unless amended to include a licensed midwifery board.
Line 114, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yes, hello. My name is Rosanna Davis, representing California Association of Licensed Midwives. Thank you for the recent amendments to SB 806 related to LM disciplinary cases. Although helpful, only scratch the surface of the historic and continued mismanagement of the LM program under the medical board. Therefore, Quorum continues to oppose, unless amended, to include the formation of a licensed midwife board. Thank you.
Line 710, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Madeline Weisner. I'm a licensed midwife and Medi-Cal provider in Sacramento, California, and I'm opposed to Bill 806 unless it provides the formation of a licensed midwife board.
Line 349, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, Megan Subers on behalf of California Health Plus Advocates, respectfully with an opposed unless amended position, specifically related to the postgraduate training license requirements, and look forward to continuing our work on that. Thank you.
We have no further comments in queue.
Thank you very much, Operator. We've concluded the portion of the public testimony for witnesses in opposition. We'll then open up the lines for members of the public wishing to speak in support as I pass that over the initial time. So, Operator, would you please open up the lines for members of the public simply wishing to signify their support by stating their name and position?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak in support of SB 806, you may press 1 and then 0 at this time. Line 407, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, this is Matt Back, representing the Osteopathic Physicians and Surgeons of California. We support SB 806, specifically the component that extends the Osteopathic Medical Board. We appreciate the work from both committees, especially as it relates to the continuing medical education. Thanks again.
Line 148, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Brian Spencer on behalf of the California Podiatric Medical Association, in support specifically of provisions pertaining to the Podiatric Medical Board of California, most notably the update to the probation disclosure requirement. Thank you to Senator Roth and Senator Merlot for your work.
One moment for our next line number. Line 258, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Rebecca Marcus, representing the Center for Public Interest Law, in support of portions of AB 806, specifically the recent amendments regarding the enforcement monitor and allowing the legislature to revisit the fee provisions next year. We do urge you to reconsider the provisions related to the administrative letter and allowing a physician to surrender their license for 10 years instead of facing revocation. Additionally, we look forward to continuing conversations on a public member majority of the board. Thank you.
We have no further comments in queue.
Okay, seeing no additional members of the public here in the chambers to signify their support, and now concluding the telephone service for members to signify their support, we'll bring the conversation back to members of the committee for any questions or comments at this time. We'll begin with Dr. Weber.
Thank you, Chair. First, I want to start by thanking the author, Senator Roth, as chair of the Senate and Business and Professions Committee, for taking the time to meet with me to discuss some of the provisions of this bill, specifically concerning the postgraduate training license. I would also like to thank the chair of this committee and staff for also taking the time to speak with me and others about this issue. As you know, Senator Roth, I, along with many others, have serious concerns about the unintended yet problematic consequences of our existing postgraduate training license requirements. In 2017, the legislature established the postgraduate training license, which created barriers for our physician residents to provide the best care possible for their patients. It also significantly limited our most vulnerable populations from receiving timely primary care due to the inability of our resident physicians to moonlight in community clinics. Although I hoped that I would have seen the specific language in this bill to resolve these obstacles that were put in place by the PTO, I know that amendments containing intent language to resolve this went into print today. As a member of Appropriations, I look forward to seeing a resolution on the PTO issue in that committee when we return for summer recess. I will be supporting this bill today to ensure that the medical board can continue its good work of protecting consumers and because of the intent language on the PTO issue. I look forward to seeing the resolution that solves these real impacts that our existing licensure framework has on our current and prospective workforce and safety net clinics. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Weber. Next up, Assemblymember Fong.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I certainly want to appreciate the comments by my colleague from San Diego and the work by you, by you, Chair Roth, for the work you're putting into working out a solution to the postgraduate licensing. Look forward to also seeing the specifics, which I think are important to increase access to healthcare in my district's rural communities and hospitals. So certainly appreciate your commitment to that. I did want to move to and focus more on the enforcement mechanisms and the concerns around that. I believe in our last Senate hearing on this, you outlined some concerns on examples that you've heard. I think Chair Lowe also, had examples of bad actors that I think were not properly reviewed and admonished by the medical board. So I wanted to at least get your thoughts on the specifics of the enforcement provisions in this bill, how the disciplinary actions can be more robust, and if you could address the issue of the confidential letters of advice that I think the opposition made, where how that's going to operate. I know that I have a number of families in my district that have concerns about that, so I would like to just get your perspective on that.
Certainly. What we heard was, of course, information that was passed on that wasn't necessarily passed on to us by the Medical Board of California. I'm not an expert on this, but it's my understanding. Certainly I've been told that the problems have to do with physicians and physician discipline and their desire, obviously well placed, to have confidentiality regarding these cases. And so when we ask about a case, including a tragic case that was detailed over some period of time during our hearing, that took a matter of 10 or 11 years to get to accusation, when I ask questions, we sent a letter, asked for response. We're told the case is in litigation, it's a confidential matter, and we can't provide you any information. So I've not been on this business and professions train before this year. This is my first rodeo. But what I have decided is it's almost impossible to come up with a fix, particularly with the medical board and with physicians, when we can't get to the data to decide whether the process is good, bad, or indifferent, whether the cases are being settled properly or improperly, because we can't get the data regarding the physician misconduct involved, redacted or otherwise. And so, with respect to the public member process, some of you may know, I put the public member provision in the Senate bill initially because I thought that was the way to go. But what I concluded was we have public members on the Medical Board of California, not just a majority. They're not a majority, but we have public members. And part of the process is the public members on the Medical Board of California are not involved in the enforcement process from the beginning. They're involved at some later stage of the process, and the question is does the entire process work? Is it effective? We also learned, as you may recall, that they settle, 82% of their cases, and 80-something% of those cases, the settlements fail to meet the disciplinary guidelines that the Medical Board of California itself promulgated and published. So we need to get to the bottom of that. We need to understand why that is, why they have a high settlement rate, why more aren't tried, and when they do have a settlement rate, why don't the settlements meet the disciplinary guidelines? Adding 1 or 2 or 3 public members to the board, since they're not involved in the entire disciplinary process, I don't think gets us there. And so we decided, yes, there's been an enforcement monitor in the board long before in my time, but we decided to put an enforcement monitor into the board with a process that hopefully has some teeth in it, and if it doesn't, we'll put some teeth to it, require periodic reports and a final report so we can get to the bottom of how this enforcement process at the medical board works and whether the medical board is in fact taking appropriate disciplinary action against physicians who violate the standard of care, 1, because some of it's medical malpractice allegation, the stuff you heard about today on the remote testimony, and some of it has to do with physician misconduct, alcohol abuse, substance abuse, lack of honesty in terms of important issues, at least important to the medical board, and a whole variety of other things. And we need to analyze that. So hopefully this enforcement monitor process will get to the heart of that, will provide us the data that we need in this committee, in the Assembly, in the Senate Committee, and Business Professions to make some determination and some adjustment with respect to the way this Medical Board of California works. And then at that point in time, we can once again address the issue of public membership, because remember, this is not the only healing arts board in the state of California, and if this board needs public members, so do the other, a public member majority, so do the other boards in California, and we might as well tackle those too. Did that come close to answering your question, sir?
Yes, it did. I did want to, did you envision the independent enforcement monitor to have more responsibility? How does it compare to previous enforcement monitors?
I wasn't here, so
I wasn't here either, so
I can't address that. But what we intend is that the enforcement monitor have full access to the process, collect data, analyze appropriateness, inappropriateness, processes that need to be changed, and provide us a report. And what we're going to have to figure out is how we get the specific data without breaching the confidentiality of these personnel matters, the confidentiality of the discipline cases that involve physicians. But we're going to need to crack that nut, because we have to understand why the settlement rate's high, why the disciplinary guidelines aren't met, and why more cases aren't tried. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they're taking too many complaints that don't really have gravitas at all levels, and then they settle them because they can't prove their case. I don't know. I don't think any of us know. And to get to the letter of advice, that was requested by the board, perhaps, to handle those low-level violations, that don't necessarily need the more formal process where you have an investigation, accusation, involvement by the Department of Justice, and all the rest, which frankly drives up the cost. And in appropriate cases, that process should be followed, and in appropriate cases, cases should be tried. But we need to sort of triage this. And that was the rationale for the board's request for the letter of advice.
Sure. Well, I certainly appreciate the answer. I know I agree with you. I think you've highlighted all the key challenges that we need to focus on. The data is extremely important. So, and I know your commitment to patient safety. So, I would look forward to working with you in terms of looking at the data and seeing if we have to make the enforcement provisions more robust. Thank you very much.
Well, I would just add, I can assure you that the letter of advice process was not included to clothe this disciplinary process in any more secrecy than it seems to have. So,
thank you very much, Assemblymember Fong. Assemblymember Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator, I had a couple questions relating to the cost recovery piece. And my first question is, under this bill, would the cost recovery fall ultimately on the physician or on the physician's malpractice insurance carrier?
I don't know the answer to that. I would suspect that it has to do with the malpractice policy provisions, but I don't really know. And the cost recovery obviously applies when somebody's lost.
Yeah,
and you recover costs. So it doesn't necessarily apply if you settle a case unless there's some agreement. So if 82% of your complaints are settled, if that remains a statistic. I don't know that we're talking about a huge number of cases, but once again, I'm guessing to some extent. We asked for some projections on revenue recovery associated with the cost recovery provision, and the data that we were provided, at least in an informal way, suggests that it's in the low millions of dollars, potentially.
Okay. So I'm curious as to your response to, I guess, CMA's concern they raised, which strikes me as it might be a well-founded concern, which is since the costs of the investigations are hard to know up front and can be highly variable, and some of them, I'm assuming from what they say, can be very expensive, by inserting a cost recovery back in the scheme, or the system, I should say, are you creating an incentive for people to leverage the potential of an expensive cost recovery that's going to be, the bill for which will be laid at the physician's door or their carrier, one of the two? Is that going to be abused in a way, or is there a potential for abuse to leverage people into just resolving things to get it done because they don't want to end up with a high six-figure bill for the investigative costs?
Well, they don't have it now, remember, and they're settling, I don't remember, 82 to 84%. It may have been 84%. 84% of their cases now. So I don't know that CMA concern has any legs, frankly.
Okay, that's fair. I look at the settlement piece actually from maybe a little bit differently. I don't know that that's evidence that the system isn't working. I mean, generally across all sorts of types of disputes, I mean, a high settlement rate is often a good sign, right? I mean, people are resolving their things without expensive, long, adjudicative processes. I mean,
well, I think if I can respond, I mean, the problem is we don't necessarily have the data. We had anecdotal data presented, as you know, during the Sunset Review hearings, and you had cases where a physician received a letter of reprimand and it was a domestic violence case, as I'm remembering. You had physicians who perhaps received a letter of reprimand, or whatever the term is, in cases where there was an admitted instance of dishonesty. So I don't know. What I do know is the medical board itself has told us that in a high percentage of those settlement cases, the disciplinary guidelines, whatever they call them, that are in regulation that they promulgated were not one or more of the central points not satisfied. So they're not meeting their own disciplinary guidelines and the discipline that they're imposing in settlement. So that may be a problem. It's certainly indicated by some of the telephone calls and testimony that we've received here and that we received during the Sunset Review. But we need to look at that. I don't have enough information to draw a conclusion myself, and I suspect you all feel the same.
All right, I appreciate your answers. Thank you.
I will note on the cost recovery that the irony of the CMA's position is not lost on me. Opposed to cost recovery, which has some revenue-generating potential in terms of those cases that drag on, perhaps because the physicians drag them on, and at the same time arguing against a fee increase for a medical board that is insolvent.
Thank you very much. Any additional questions or comments from committee members at this time? Seeing no additional questions or comments from committee members at this time, Chairman Roth, do you wish to close?
Well, let me just, if I could, make one other point to those licensed midwives. I understand the concern and the interest in establishing a new licensed midwifery board. Frankly, though, we need to do more financial analysis to ensure that the license fees that the licensed midwives are going to pay, are willing to pay, are sufficient to fund the board, because as you all know, these boards are special funded and not general fund, and the licensees have to support the government operation that we set up. So I pledge to those who called in, I pledge to do that. I know Chair Lowe joins me in that, and we'll take another look at this and see what we need to do. So with that, Chair Lowe, this bill importantly continues not only the operations of the medical board, but the osteopathic medical board, the podiatric medical board, and the physician assistant board, State of California. So respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much, Chairman Roth. Again, I'd like to commend you for taking on this position as the chair of the Senate Business and Professions Committee, in which you did not ask for this, and you're thrown in to help dive into very difficult, complex issues with 16 or so boards and bureaus this year. And I know that you and I are committed to ironing out many of these issues in the interim and moving forward. I'd also like to thank the advocates and patients who have been in contact with our respective offices, particularly those who have experienced great loss due to medical negligence. Members of this committee will also recall that we have had multiple oversight hearings in which we've expressed considerable frustrations with the medical board's failure to be proactive and protect patients. And in fact, just this morning, an LA Times article found that nearly out of the 90,000 complaints against doctors over the past decade, less than 0.5% resulted in a license revocation. This, of course, is either a statistical anomaly or a complete failure by the medical board to take action to protect everyday Californians. And while we are not addressing a number of outstanding issues, I know Chairman Roth and I stand deeply committed to addressing those issues moving forward. But let's make it very clear that while we are extending the board sunset extension for 2 years, the board is certainly not off the hook. And I know that Chairman Roth shares the deep commitment to ensuring strong oversight over the coming years, and will continue to demand answers with the respective chairs and committee staff, along with members of these committees. I also want to ensure and encourage and reaffirm the comments by Dr. Weber on addressing outstanding issues, and I know that we will collectively work out those issues as it continues to move forward, as well as having reports from an independent enforcement monitor who will help strengthen the process with informed recommendations. So having said that, this does enjoy due pass recommendation, and we need a motion and a second. Moved by Assemblymember Bloom, second by Dr. Weber. Committee Secretary, please call the roll.
SB 806 Roth, due pass to appropriations. Lowe?
Aye.
Lowe, aye. Flora? Flora not voting. Berman? Berman, aye. Bloom? Bloom, aye. Chen? Chu? Chu, aye. Cunningham? Cunningham not voting. Daly? Daly not voting. Fong? Fong not voting. Gibson? Gibson, aye. Grayson? Grayson, aye. Holden? Holden, aye. Irwin? Irwin, aye. McCarty? Medina? Medina, aye. Mullen? Mullen, aye. Solis? Ting? Weber? Weber, aye. 11 ayes, 0 noes.
11 ayes, 0 noes. Chairman Roth will leave the roll open for absent members. And again, thank you very much for your continued partnership and dedication as we move forward. Members of the committee, just before we head into the final votes, I just want to remind members on sunset bills, a no vote means that we will eliminate the boards and bureaus. So a no vote signifies that the board will expire January 1, 2022, just to reaffirm that piece of information. So we'll go back into file order then to tackle the add-ons. Now allow the committee secretary to go in file order.
Consent items: SB 800 Archuleta, SB 826 Business Professions and Economic Development, due pass to appropriations. Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Cunningham? Aye. Cunningham, aye. Holden? Aye. Holden, aye. McCarty? Aye. McCarty, aye. Mullen? Aye. Mullen, aye. Ting? 18 ayes, 0 noes. SB 607, Min, due pass to appropriations. Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Cunningham? Aye. Cunningham, aye. Holden? Aye. Holden, aye. McCarty? Aye. McCarty, aye. Mullen? Aye. Mullen, aye. Ting? 18 ayes, 0 noes. SB 801 Archuleta, due pass as amended to appropriations. Chu? Aye. Chu, aye. Cunningham? Aye. Cunningham, aye. Daly? Daly, aye. Holden? Aye. Holden, aye. McCarty? Aye. McCarty, aye. Mullen? Mullen, aye. Ting? Eighteen ayes, 0 noes. SB 802 Roth, due pass to appropriations. Holden? Holden, aye. McCarty? McCarty, aye. Mullen? Mullen, aye. Ting? 18 ayes, 0 noes. SB 803 Roth, due pass is amended to appropriations. Flora? No. Flora, no. Chu? Chu, aye. McCarty? McCarty, aye. Ting? Sixteen ayes, 1 no. SB 806 Roth, due pass to appropriations. McCarty? McCarty, aye. Solis? Ting? 12 ayes, 0 no.
Good job, Mr. Chair.
Consent items SB 800 Archuleta, SB 826 Business and Professions and Economic Development, due pass to appropriations. Ting? Ting, aye. 19 ayes, 0 noes. SB 607 Min, due pass to appropriations. Ting? Ting, aye. 19 ayes, 0 noes. SB 801 Archuleta, due pass as amended to appropriations. Ting? Ting, aye. 19 ayes, 0 noes. SB 802 Roth, due pass to appropriations. Ting? Ting, aye. 19 ayes, 0 no. SB 803 Roth, due pass as amended to appropriations. Ting? Ting, aye. 17 ayes, 1 no. SB 806 Roth, due pass to appropriations. Ting? Ting not voting.
We are adjourned. Thank you.